are back in AllegroGraph WebView, and let me show you some more things that you can do with AllegroGraph WebView. So we go here, and I have a database healthcare, so let me just delete that one. So now it's deleted. Now note that I'm going to work with this, what we call the healthcare dataset, which is freely available on our website. So if you want to play with that, just go to the graph download page and there you'll find the healthcare dataset. But for now, let me see how you do all of this. So I'm here and I type in healthcare. So now I create a database and I have 0 statements in the database. So let's load some data. I say import RDF from a server-side file. I click on that and I already have here somewhere the healthcare dataset. So here it's, note that it's a GC file, but AllegroGraph will still guess that it's an NT file, an N-triples file. And I want it, and it's about 13 million triples, so I don't want to load it as a transactional, but I want to use AGLoad, meaning a Linux a program to use multiple threads to download the data, and I want to load it in bulk node. So I've done that. And if I wanted to, I could say how many processes I want to use to load the data, and then I click OK. Okay, so now I loaded all the triples for healthcare in AllegroGraph. And then we use AGWebView to basically manage your repository. So there's lots of things you can do, and I'll just go through some of the functionality. Obviously, if you sometimes you want triples, so you can just say few triples, and here you get some of the triples in the database. Obviously, I can go back and I could say, well, what are the classes in the database? So I click here, and I get all the classes in the database. I could do the same thing for the predicates, etc. Okay, so not important for now. Then if I wanted to say I have a database, I can always export the triples as n triples or n quads or turtle or trig, very handy. If you want to make a backup of your database, then just click this button, give a file name, and it takes a few seconds and your database is backed up. In this case, I know there's probably 500,000 duplicate triples in here. If you want to get rid of them, you can just click on delete duplicate statements. Yeah, and then you have to choose whether you want to include the graph or not for the duplicates. For now, let's just do that. And what you see is that we deleted about 500,000 duplicate statements. Yeah. Let's see what's other things we can do. There's this thing called optimized repository. Let me explain that. So I could look at the storage reports. So one way to do here is so how much disk space is the database taking right now. You see it's 1.7 gig. There's no free text indices. There's no deleted. Oh yeah, there's actually already deleted triples here. I could look at other reports like the triple indices. And what you see here is we have normally 7 different indices, so you can see how much space each of them takes. You know, can see what the fragmentation level of the indices are, and see here that here you see all these green icons, meaning that the indices are already very healthy. So normally you won't touch it. If you want to make some changes, you can literally go to this view and say you just want to make sure that there's absolutely no fragmentation, and you just can click on this button here. And for example, you could say, well, let's optimize the indices, and then it takes a few seconds for this small database, and the data in all your indices will go down to 1. See, so now they're all 1. You can delete some of the indices. So say you don't need the indices that are sorted on G, then you can say delete them. And so now you have deleted them. Anyway, just to give you an idea what you can do, let me go back here to the repository. Okay, so we're here. So let me hit F11 again so that I'm back in the browser. Now you can always close graph by just clicking closing the tab, and you're done. Here. And just to show that we created a text index and committed it, I could actually go here to or manage free text indices here. And we see that we have 2 of them here. So let me delete this one here. And then we have the text index 2 that we just made, and with all the predicates that we have here. And if I wanted to do a free text index query, I can always click on queries, free text, and look here for aspirin. Cancer, and I only want to look in text index 2, search, and then I get here my results. Okay, so one more thing that I want to show you is when you do a lot of work like loading big files or doing many queries at the same time, then you want to know to what extent you are using all your resources. And so we have a tool for that in here. You can always click on utilities and then look at the view, the server stats. And basically, this is the output of VMstat. Yeah, you click on the auto refresh every second. And then what you see here is to what extent you use all the CPUs in the system, how much free memory you have, or anonymous and cached memory, how much I/O you had. So this was when we were doing the free text index, for example. Here you see all the processes that are running, and finally, how many jobs are scheduled right now. Now, because the database isn't doing anything and AllegroGraph is very, very efficient, this doesn't show anything right now. But again, I want to make sure that you know that this tool is available for you if you need to know how your resources are being used. Okay, another feature that we always get questions about is the security in AllegroGraph, and we're kind of proud that we are the most secure triple store that is commercially or non-commercially available. There's several ways you can protect your database. One is it's more conventional, where you click on where you can make your own users. So say I'm here and I want to make a new user. I'm the user test. Let's say I want to add a user. Then I can add Craig, give him a password. So now I have a new user, and then I can edit. Oh, not now. And I can edit, and I can make him a super user as well. So we can maybe start sessions, so he can think like Prolog, and or can he evaluate arbitrary JavaScript code or other code? Can he control application? Is he allowed to do two-phase commits? And then, well, a lot more things. And then you can actually specify whether a person for each separate repository, whether you can have read, only write, read, write for a particular catalog. Say we do this one here, and for the repository Dutch technique. So now Craig is allowed to do whatever he wants to do with this particular database. All right, so that is one way. But the other thing is where we can protect every triple on an individual basis. So we can add to every triple a JSON object with key value pairs. We call them attributes. Yeah, where you can specify metadata about triples, and we can use that to write to write filters that allow who can see what information. Now, the information about how to do this in the documentation index, so you can also see where you can get the documentation. For example, you want to go to the documentation index, yeah, and somewhere you will find triple attributes that will specify in great detail how you can add a JSON object to every single triple, and also how you can write filters that determine who can see what. Yeah, and there's a whole language how you express those filters here. So I'd rather urge you to read through that. And within here in the AllegroGraph WebView, and we go back to the repository, there's also an area called Manage Triple Attributes, where you can actually specify attributes. For example, I make an attribute, I'll call it security level. The minimum number is your 0, so well, let's say 1, and the maximum number of security levels is also 1. And you can have a number of values that are allowed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can say that they're ordered, and then you can save that. Yeah, and so now I have determined an attribute for a particular triple, and then here I can write filters to determine who can see what. All right, then that's it for this particular part of the demo. And again, I urge you to go to the documentation for triple attributes.